Good morning. Welcome to Goodwill Commodities. In this presentation, we are going to see how we can trade in Mcx crude oil for this week. Before looking into that, let us see what happened last week and what we expected last week. The chart which you are seeing is an 1 hour chart. That means all the single candlestick here represents 1 hour. Whenever I place the cursor on any particular candlestick, you can see the date and time below. These vertical dotted lines indicates the price opening and closing for the respective days. You can see this black color candlestick that indicates last week Monday's price opening. You can see the date and time below. What we expected last week was, we expected that crude has got the potential to stay in uptrend till 6320. We had identified and we had marked this as a box, and we expected that the market has got the potential to stay in uptrend till this zone. Only we get a closing below this or a strong price action below this point, then we can expect crude oil to reverse its trend. So now let us see what happened after that. After the price opening, you can see that the market went up and tested the previous week high. You know that the high for on 19, the market created a high of near 6500. So the price went and tested and tried to create a high. After there was a clear drop, you can see the price dropped down and closed. That was on Monday. The price closed near 6360. The next day you can see the price came down and tested the 6360 again and entered into our key zone of 6320, where we expected till this zone we expected the market will stay in buying. So what happened after that? After testing the zone, the market gave a clear bounce back and closed higher. The next day we had identified a downtrend line. Then we want to trace the downtrend. So what we did was, we identified and we had drawn a downtrend line to guide us for the future. So what happened on the next day? That was, you can follow the date and time below. The next day, that was on 24th, the price took the resistance along with the downtrend line, and you can see the price broke the 6360, the intermediate zone, along with the average. So that created a huge drop in Mcx crude oil. So the next day, from the next day onwards, as we expected that the price had broken this key zone of 6320. So what we expected that the market had, we got all the confirmation for a price reversal. So we expected that crude has got the potential to maintain and go for selling from this point. The day after it broke the average, the day after it stayed in line with the downtrend, and in order to identify to guide us for trend, we continue to follow this downtrend line. So what happened on the next day? You can see the price opened lower and it was trading continuously lower. So we had drawn the support line also 6160 and 6220. We had made a very clear explanation why we identified this as a support line. If you didn't follow our presentation last week, please go to our YouTube channel, Goodwill Commodities, or to our website www.onlinecommoditytradingmcx.com, where you can see all these videos, the last week videos. So what happened on 25th was, the market stayed in line with the downtrend, but it provided a bounce back, might be due to some profit taking. The next day the price opened, that was on Friday, the price opened below the previous day's price closing, and you can see the price came down and tested the same low that was created on the previous day, that was on 25th. You can see there is a lot of fight in and around within this particular zone, and also you can witness the leg of the candlestick. You can also say as a wig or shadow of the candlestick, how many times the market had entered and it had provided a bounce back. So it had provided a lot of bounce back in and around the zone and closed just below 6220. The difference that was created was, if you see the last 2 days, that was on 25th and 26th price action, there is not much difference in the low. The low remains the same, might be few points of difference, but if you see that the opening and more or less the opening, we can consider this as equal, just below that, and the closing is going to play a major role. On Friday, the price closed below the previous day's price closing. So that is going to be the key part which we should note. The low is same, but the market didn't create a new high, and the price closed lower than the previous day's closing, and the price was staying below and in line with this downtrend. That is the reason why we always say trend lines are the most powerful tool in technical analysis if you know how to use that in the right way. So trend lines are not just drawing a trend line, it's all about how you modify the trend line according to the daily price actions. So in our tutorials and in our video presentation, everywhere you can see how we effectively use this trend line. So on Saturday also the price just opened below the previous day and it was closed more or less near the same zone. So on seeing the entire price action, there is no doubt that that is the reason we had drawn this trend line. So the price was staying in line with the downtrend. Today you can expect the price to open more or less near the same zone where it closed on Saturday or just below that. There may be minor variations based on the rupee and currency factors, but according to the Mcx price direction, we are predicting the price opening. So there may not be much changes in the price opening compared to the previous day's price closing. So what we can do for this week? So that is going to be the first question. If the price continue to stay in line with this downtrend which we had identified, then you can expect the price to reach 6112. We had marked this. Why we had marked this as a support zone? Let me explain you. You can see on this particular days, on 4th of July and on 3rd of July, the market struggled in this particular zone. So there was a lot of interest in this particular zone for these traders. So after clearing that, the market gave a clear turnaround. So that's the reason. It's one case we had shown you just by taking the few days of previous price action, but we had also referred to many histories where this 6112 acted as a potential support zone. So if the trend continues, the market will come down and initially test this zone. The two support zone we had marked for your easy identification, and the most core bottom is going to be the 6000 psychological level. So we know that 6000 is a great psychological level. So there will be a pass in this area and all the traders will think whether we can push the price to 6000 psychological level or we can continue or reverse the trend. So we are hinting here. So once you reach this zone, take your steps very slowly towards 6000 zone. So there may be a stop for in around 6000 in this particular contract. So for this week also there is no much modification in our strategy which we followed last week for selling. So once if the price breaks this downtrend line, it will go and test all these resistance zone. Now we should consider all this as a resistance zone. And if you see that the box which we had identified as a key area for trend reversals, the moving average which we are following is also converging into the major support zone, which indicates that till this zone you can go for selling, or you can go for, if the price is giving a bounce back average, you can go for an average till this zone. So till 6320 we expect that the price has got the potential to stay in downtrend, and for this week also we are expecting crude can continue its downtrend having these supports, and we had also hinted it very clearly. The next zone, if the price drops below this, can be possibly 6000 and 6056. So the price can, next level is 6056. We had not drawn this line. Probably if the price closed below that, we will be drawing it tomorrow. In order for the sellers to get a clear confirmation about the downtrend, we can say that we need a continuous price closing below 6220 here. So it is very much necessary for the market to close below 6220 for today, so that it can pull lot of sellers to push the price down. Because why we are saying that, if the price closes above or within the 6260 and 6220, it shows that the market had closed the 2 days. For the last 2 days the price was consolidating. We cannot take this easily, this type of price action. We don't want to take it easily, because you can see the lot of bounce backs, tiny bounce backs, which means that some people are interested in this particular zone. It indicates that. So we want to be very cautious about this for selling to continue. Today the market should close again below 6220, so that it can give us a clear indication that crude is heading downwards, and also it can pull lot of sellers into the market. So for sellers, this is going to be the criteria. If the price breaks closes or breaks above 6260, be very careful while you are averaging in this particular resistance. So be very careful, sellers. We need, in order for the market to continue its downtrend, we need a strong closing below 6220 today. So if the price can clear all these, you can see this particular area, then everything will be a smooth downfall for sellers. We don't say that if the price is going to close about, don't go for buying. We unless until today, seeing the yesterday the last week price actions, we can say that there is nothing for buyers other than this consolidation what happened. So be very careful, don't go and bet against the trend. That is what we repeatedly say. Trend is always our friend, and we follow a trend following strategy. We don't bet against the trend. Trade always with stop loss. So let us see what's going to happen during the trading session, and thanks a lot for watching our videos. Happy trading, take care.